Hey everyone, Dante here with the Raging Geek, and today we're looking at NECA's Dungeons and Dragons 50th Anniversary figure line. And this particular figure we have today is Warduke. I want to say this is a reboot from the early Advanced Dungeons and Dragons figures from the 80s. You can see NECA drop the Advanced in the Dungeons and Dragons letterhead for whatever reason. I guess maybe in today's context it doesn't mean as much to mainstream audiences, though those who bought the figures back in the day, it means quite a lot. It's a difference between Dungeons and Dragons and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So we got this figure at Target. And, when I first saw it, I was shocked to see it. I got really excited. And then I noticed the card was cracked here on the bottom. And that's why I realized it was on the Target shelf. Because it was cracked. 50th Anniversary Dungeons and Dragons Warduke. Now, recently, NECA had released another Dungeons and Dragons Warduke. And, it's very similar, but it's not the same. And it's this Warduke right here. And if you take a quick glance, yeah, you would easily mistaken this for the same figure. But it's not. This is kind of a more realistic interpretation of Warduke, while this 50th anniversary figure is more like a reproduction of the original LJN figure from the early 80s, I think in 1983 or 84. But it does include more accessories than the original 1980s LJN Warduke figure. So the original 1980s Warduke figure only had the sword and the shield with the action figure, whereas this reproduction has an extra short sword, an extra dagger, and I want to say like a magical fire effect for the sword, similar to this fire effect, but probably they were going for like a more cartoonish look on the repro. So if you take a look, I have an original LJN Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Warduke figure here, and you can see the likeness and the accessories that it did come with. And as you can see, the new repro comes with a few more accessories. Here is the actual action figure itself, loose. The repro and the original. Obviously, the size discrepancy here, but you can see the details. And it's a great repro. Definitely if you're a Warduke fan, Warduke, one appearance in the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon series. He might have had a printed appearance as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I know in the cartoon series, one appearance. And that was in season 1, episode 6. Yeah, I mean, ideally, I wanted to get this with a pristine card. I have one Strong Heart I got from my local comic shop that was pristine. It was just so nice to see this at Target. I picked it up anyway, and I decided I'm going to open this. And $30 at Target, a small price to pay to share this with my viewers. So I picked it up. We're going to open it. Let's take a look. This is Dungeons and Dragons 50th Anniversary Warduke Evil Fighter figure from NECA. Got this at Target, $30. Let's open up, take a closer look. Really painful to open this, but with the cracked card here, I'm kind of okay with it. Okay, so I'm going to take this out one at a time. We have the sword. We have the sword effect. You have like this mini, I want to say dagger, saber. We have a short sword. We have the shield, similar to the other NECA shield. This is a more chrome looking shield, where the NECA one kind of has a little more, I want to say patina on it, or tarnish. But it looks like they used the same exact mold. They just changed the spray for, I guess, ease. But the mold is exactly the same. So they just changed the finish on it. And let me get my trusty X-Acto knife to free up Warduke here. Warduke is free. I'm gonna make a bold assumption here and say that these two figures are exactly the same mold. They're exactly the same in every respect. The only thing different is the paint job. So one is I guess for the most part, like metallic paint job, and the other one isn't. It's a flat color paint job. And we'll take a closer look, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm taking a zoom in here. You can take a close look at all these figures and let me know what you think. Those two are the same figure with different paint jobs. And I'll put it on the carousel so you can just take a look front and back. The same figure. Different packaging and different paint jobs, though. Which, hey, you know, I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing it out. I mean, no issues here. Now, in episode 6, in Search for the Dungeon Master finds himself fighting off Warduke's minions. He's up in a tree having a jolly good time making easy sport of I think they're bullywogs. He's on a tree limb. Warduke comes around, uses his sword, freezes Dungeon Master, takes him prisoner. Shadow Demon comes and visits, and Warduke tells Shadow Demon that Dungeon Master is Venger's for the right price. So Shadow Demon returns to Venger, tells him what Warduke says, and Venger says, Warduke has either become very brave or very stupid. And that's it. The gang saves Dungeon Master, but does he really need saving? Not really. I mean, Dungeon Master let himself get captured by Warduke. This was all one of Dungeon Masters mini tests for the gang. So, for the figure, yeah, the figure is great. I mean, it was great when they made the other figure. I mean, it's the same figure. You know, obviously this is a nostalgia purchase. You're buying it for the likeness of the original LJN Warduke figure. So, you know, getting it in the package pristine is probably for a lot of people the priority. Not to say that it doesn't offer a lot of joy out of the package. It does. I mean, you know, hey, a lot of people just have a loose Warduke figure, you know. I'm going to say the majority of the people who buy this don't have a original LJN figure in the package, and they'll have a loose one, or they won't have one, and they want the closest thing to one. So, yeah, I mean, if you can get this on the store shelf, awesome. $30, I think it's a steal. You know, they do sell on Amazon for, I want to say around $45, $46. Still not too bad. You know, if it's something you really need, if you love Warduke, you know, he's almost like, I want to say, the Boba Fett of Dungeons and Dragons. So, you know, if that's an accurate analogy, you know, a man of few words, and definitely a lot of mystery behind the character. You know, someone I wish they made a bigger backstory about. But, yeah, Warduke. Get him at Target if you can. You know, I'm going to be honest, it's pretty hard. You know, when I scanned, this must have been a return, because when I scanned the price of the figure, it was $29.99. I was like, $29.99, great. But it said availability out of stock. So if you can find this at your local Target, great. I wouldn't count on it. You're probably, you know, you're most likely looking at either a local comic store, you know, hobby shop, or Amazon. eBay, you're probably going to look at a little bit more, probably $50, $60 with shipping. Amazon, if you have Prime membership, is probably your best bet at $46. There you have it. Dungeons and Dragons 50th anniversary Warduke figure from NECA. Get yours now. Great figure. If you have the opportunity, buy one to keep in the package, and then buy one to open. Whether I buy one to open or not, I'm not sure. I'm going to hold out. I'm hoping that it gets to my local comic store one way or another. They always get toys, and you know, hopefully it gets there. I'd be okay at a later time to pick one up at $50. So that's it. This was the Raging Geek. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Come again soon. Take care.
Raging Geek.